Broadcasting live across the southern plains from the tornado bunker in the McRoof World Headquarters. The McRoof Radio Network brings you home repair McRoof style. I'm Rick Allen Lippert here with restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCullum. Good morning, Scott.
Hey, good morning, sir.
Happy Easter to you.
Yes, sir. Same to you.
Retro Radio Randy is the wizard on the other side of the curtain.
Hello, Southern Plain.
He will answer your call to 405-656-5868. Act one of the show today, we'll start with our trivia question and the tool of the week, which I will post soon on the Home Repair McRoof Style Facebook page.
Okay.
And when you go there to look for it, why don't you like us while you're there? And as always, we're taking your home repair questions.
I don't know. Let me name the reasons.
The number again, 405-656-5868. McRoof U.S. meteorologist Dion Markham has the week off, but we will still have our Southern Plains weather this week. Then in Act 2 of the show, we'll have our What Were They Thinking segment. Scott, what's the title of this week's horror story?
Well, I think it's this is a repeat of last week's where we said, Myrtle, one of these days you're going to hire someone who actually has a clue what they're doing. And we're gonna continue with our saga.
Oh my!
Okay.
That poor Myrtle.
Mm-hmm.
Then in Act 3, we'll have our After the Storm tip and wrap up with some very wise words from Scott's dad. And coming back some breaks, some really obscure historical trivia. The McRoof Radio Network includes KOKC in Oklahoma City, KNSS in Wichita, and KALV in Alva. You can hear us on the iHeartRadio and Odyssey apps, and we're live streaming the show on the Home Repair McRoof Style YouTube channel.
There you go.
Go ahead and subscribe. Actually, we'll wave to the folks at home. Go ahead and subscribe while you're there, and that way you'll always get a notification when we go live. Wherever you are, you can always call us, 405-656-5868.
And as Rick always says, if we don't know the answer to your question, we'll just make something up.
That's right.
There you go.
It'll sound good. It'll sound convincing. So let's get to the trivia question, shall we?
Okay, we'll do it. So this week we had some winds blowing around the southern plains.
Ooh, my goodness
Okay.
gracious! They were squeezing the air out of the Kleenex boxes
Is that
this week.
what they were doing? So the highest wind speed recorded in Oklahoma this week was 87 miles an hour.
That's
getting on up there. I think that was somewhere Beaver, up in the Panhandle, something like that.
Yeah, I would imagine.
So I suspect that Kansas, our friends just north, probably had some winds fairly similar to that in Kansas. So CertainTeed's Northgate or Landmark shingles, our architectural dimensional shingles, come with a blank mile-per-hour wind warranty. Okay?
All right.
This is a standard out-of-the-box wind warranty for Landmark or Northgate shingles. What is the answer to that? And then we'll have a little bonus question for you. So.
All right. So if you think you know what the warranty, the standard wind warranty for a CertainTeed Northgate or Landmark shingle is, give us a call, 405-656-5868. And you'll get your choice of books from Scott's library.
They will, and I'm going to help them out a little bit. You'll remember that we talk about our old traditional 3-tab shingle that comes with a 60-mile-an-hour wind warranty.
Okay.
Just got done telling you we had a recorded 87-mile-an-hour wind in Oklahoma this week. So the reason that Scott, the reason that McRoof or any of my companies do not install 3-tab shingles in the hail belt or tornado alley is because the wind rating on that shingle is 60 miles an hour, actually 70 miles an hour with our company's credentials. But 60 miles an hour, that's just not going to cut it. That's a pretty common occurrence around here.
I would say 60 miles an hour is, that's what, Tuesday morning?
There you go. There you go. So the number that we're looking for on our Landmark and Northgate is obviously well north of 60 miles an hour.
Yes,
okay?
it is.
So there's your tip.
All right. So our tool of the week you selected this, so you get to tell us about it, the Vaughn Super Bar. And It comes
Okay.
in 3 different sizes.
It does. It comes in 3 different sizes. It comes in a 12, a 15, or a 21-inch version. The 12-inch looks to me like it's about $19.35 on
Yeah.
Amazon. The 15 is $22.58, and the 21-inch is $45.75. Now,
Okay.
21-inch is getting pretty big.
That's a big one.
Okay, now remember the business I'm in.
Right,
Okay.
yeah.
So what do you think we use these pry bars for?
I would imagine to lift shingles up off of a roof.
There you go. And when we're doing that, like if we have to get in underneath a shingle to keep from tearing everything up, number one, we've got to break the asphalt seal and get underneath there.
Right.
Then number two, we've got to get to the nails, okay?
Right.
And realizing that the exposure on a shingle's about 5 5/8, 5 3/4 inches.
Okay.
The nail obviously is above that.
Right.
So say the nail line is about 7.5, 8 inches or so from the bottom of that shingle.
Right.
Okay? That's the first course of shingles.
Right.
For us to be able to work, we've got to be into the second and sometimes even into that third course of
Okay,
shingles. So
yeah.
if I have a 12-inch pry bar or even a 15-inch pry bar, I'm having to lift shingles, kind of bend them back, get them
Right.
out of my way to get up
To
in
fit
underneath
that
there
bar
to
up on the-
find that last nail in that
Gotcha.
second or third course. I don't want to have to do that.
Right.
Okay? That's why we'll have a 21-inch pry bar, 21-inch Vaughn Super Bar.
Yeah.
Okay?
Now-
So that's the reason for that.
Now,
So-
any idea why it's called a super bar?
Oh, I don't know. I just remember in my years of being a carpenter, it was always, we just always referred to it as a super bar.
Okay.
And this was a carpenter's tool. It's something you use to pull nails. It's something you use to separate boards.
I
It's
still have the one that I inherited from my dad.
There you go.
And this sucker's got to be 50, 60 years old.
May not have been a Vaughn, but I guarantee you, I bet it's a good grade of steel.
It really is.
Now they've got 3 different slots for pulling nails.
Okay.
They've got, in the bendy down part, there's a
Right.
slot there that you can get the head of a nail and
Yeah.
pry that out. In the long flat part of it, there's another slot at the end of that.
Right.
That's what we use when
Sure.
we're reaching up underneath those shingles. And then there's actually a third place, which is in the flat part of the shingle. If you had something exposed where you can get to it,
Yeah.
you can actually lay it right on that flat part, flat against flat, get that down on that head of that nail, and it'll really give you a lot of prying power. So there's a reason for the 3
Yeah.
different places they've got the slots on that super bar.
It
So
is a handy tool,
it
I will tell you
is.
that.
It
It's
is.
really handy.
Vaughn Super Bar.
And I'll get that posted
Now,
on
why
the,
didn't you have that on there? You had
Oh,
trouble
gosh.
with my email?
it just, it was a busy morning
Oh,
and
I
I had a
got you.
lot to do and I'll just leave it at that.
Okay, all
So
right.
in your week, this past week, you had quite a week, as it looks like.
Well, what all did I write down here? I mean, we
Flat
dealt,
roof blisters,
well, we dealt with the wind all week.
right?
And we had talked a little bit in regards to Myrtle about how we were working on some flat roofs.
Right.
So we obviously dealt with the wind all week in terms of we had days where we just had to stop. I mean,
Right.
we couldn't do any tear off because stuff was blowing from here. It wasn't, it was either blowing to Kansas or to Mexico, depending on which day it was.
Right.
Okay. And so we had days that we really couldn't do much, had to batten down the hatches to keep material on the roofs and all that kind of thing. Very, very difficult installing membrane, whether that's TPO or something else when the wind's blowing
Sure.
as hard as it was. Because we've got to keep the wrinkles out of that.
Right.
You know, we've got to keep
Exactly.
it smooth. We've got to
Right.
be able to smooth it out and all that. So the wind was the big deal this week. We actually had a roof we were installing, had a piece of OSB blow off of the roof
Right.
and go through a window.
Yeah.
So we dealt with that. That might have been last week,
Yeah.
but we kind of had a repeat of that this week.
Oh, my.
I had the guys trying to deck a house down in little gingerbread house down in Norman this week with a real steep roof.
Right.
And the guy's walking through the gate with a sheet of decking, gust of wind caught him, and and the sheet went like this, and the gate went like this.
Oh,
You know, I
my.
mean, it was kind of like,
Oh,
I
my.
feel sorry for those guys. I mean, they do a lot in those kinds of conditions. So that was part of it. We had a really interesting situation this week. I had some folks who had called about a roof and said, "Oh, it's not insurance; it's a cash deal. The roof's just old and worn out and all that." And by golly, it really was old
Yeah.
and worn out. But here's the question, and I've run into this before. You'll remember our good friend Mr. Bush.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of the same kind of attitude about, well, the roof's worn out, but by the same token, you've paid insurance for a lot of years, okay?
Right.
And these particular folks, I said, well, I know you told Wanda that this was going to be a cash deal, but do you have insurance on this property? And if you have insurance on this property, do you in fact have any coverage for your roof? Okay, and I'm sure this ends up being an old organic shingle. Okay, so this is a shingle from, pre-70s, pre-80s certainly, but that generation of shingles. We don't use that anymore.
Okay.
And it was a multi-layer. It's got like 3 or 4. I walked around the
Oh,
house,
my.
and there's just chunks of shingle laying everywhere. The wind is just shredding that
Oh,
thing
my
at this point.
goodness.
So it's way beyond its useful life. The point is, if you've paid for insurance
Yeah.
and your roof is not excluded, you're entitled to whatever it is the insurance company is going to pay you. Now, it's probably going to be an actual cash value payment.
Right.
There's probably going to be some limitations and exclusions on there. But this is ends up being about a $12,000 or $15,000 roof. The insurance company pays them $5,000 or $6,000. Wouldn't it be better for that to come from the insurance company's pocketbook than yours?
Sure.
I mean, you've been
Yeah.
paying your premiums. These people
Right.
had never thought about it.
Wow.
So we're going through the process now of investigating with their insurance company exactly what their coverages are and what provisions apply to their roof, and potentially file an insurance claim, get them out there. With the old organic shingles,
Now, what do you mean by organic?
well, that's the way they were made. The shingles after organics, I mean, organic, it was made with organic material
Okay.
in it
Okay.
that asphalt was coated to. Okay.
Okay.
And then after that, we went to our scrim technologies,
The
with our
fiberglass.
fiberglasses,
Yeah, okay.
and things like
Okay.
that. So it's just an old version
Sure, okay.
of our asphalt shingles. Okay.
Gotcha.
Passe technology.
All
Ended
right.
up class action suits, all kinds of
Oh,
things for
my.
all the manufacturers, and just really not a good thing. So, with an organic shingle, if they have coverage on it, literally all that there has to be is one damaged shingle, and the insurance company has to replace the entire roof, because there
Oh.
is no.
You can't replace it, yeah.
No repair, no repairability, and no replacement for it.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that turns out. But those folks, I do run into people from time to time who tell me, "Oh no, we're not going to deal with insurance. This is a cash roof. It's just an old, worn-out roof." Well, just because it's an old, worn-out roof doesn't mean that you haven't paid for some coverage for some amount of protection from your insurance company.
Right.
So anyway, so that's it. Had a really sporadic, let's call it, or erratic. What are you doing? You're pointing at me.
Well, it's time to take a break. And
Okay.
It sounds like you're about to launch off into another
I am.
adventure.
I'm going to jump into a tirade about insurance adjusters
Ooh,
this week.
boy.
so.
We're talking insurance adjusters when we return for Act 2 of Home Repair McRoof Style on the McRoof Radio Network. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. He's restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCullum. Retro Radio Randy is on the other side of the glass taking your call, other side of the curtain, I should say, taking your call to 405-656-5868. We'll have Southern Plains weather this week when we return. This is the McRoof Radio Network.
Folks, if you hadn't made the call to Brad's Heat and Air Conditioning yet for that spring tune-up, it's time to do that. There's going to come a day here in the next week or two that you're going to really want that AC to be purring. If it's not working the way you want it to, then now you're on a list waiting for somebody to get out there to take care of you. Get it done now before you need that air conditioning. Brad's has been serving the greater metro for almost 40 years. They install and service all brands of heating and air conditioning equipment. They're a certified American Standard dealer, so if you need a new system, they're going to give you a proposal on an American Standard system. They've gotten great reviews from their customers and from all of our listeners who have used them for many years now. For that AC checkup or for that air quality checkup, give Brad a call at 405-799-7823. You know, the pollen is raging right now. Air filtration, air quality is a big concern. Call them at 405-799-7823 or go online to bradsheatandair.com. Tell them McRoof sent you.
Hey, Scott, I have folks tell me all the time that they can't find anybody out there to inspect their roof or to just fix a leak. You started Roof RX to remedy that issue, didn't you?
Well, I did. Roofers are in the business to replace roofs. They're not in the business to inspect, repair, or maintain them.
So what's so different about Roof RX then?
Well, Roof RX is a standalone company totally separate from McRoof. The inspectors are trained professionals armed with knowledge and technology. They are not roofing salespeople. Our repairs are guaranteed for life, and we offer a money-back guarantee.
Wow, that sounds great, but I'll bet you're booked up for months out.
No, sir, we're generally no more than a week or so out, and of course we get on emergencies a whole lot faster than that. Get on our list by calling Carly at 405-877-ROOF or online at roof-rx.com. Hey, Rick, this is something that Roof RX is really proud of. This is our presentation of a Daylight Doctor.
Daylight Doctor.
Daylight Doctor. The Daylight Doctor's prescription for your dark home.
Ooh.
Okay, our Solitude daylighting systems bring pure natural light to brighten even the darkest spaces and for a fraction of the cost of a traditional skylight. We can install your Solitude daylighting system in about 2 hours. That's right.
Wow.
We can prescribe and cure your home in about 2 hours. The Daylight Doctor can remedy your dark kitchen, those bathrooms or hallways. Take advantage of the 26% solar tax credit and save today. Visit OKCSkylights.com or call 405-977-5483 to schedule your free house call. Free house call. Again,
From a doctor.
from a doctor. Visit OKCSkylights.com or call 405-977-5483 and get the prescription and cure today.
Homer Stacy was a wholesome, good American kid from Texas. At the age of 18, he enlisted in the United States Army and was stationed at Fort Bliss, Texas. Homer was fascinated with aircraft, so he went to flight school and became an Army Air Corps pilot. Homer Stacy was the pilot of a Convair B-24 Liberator, the Yankee Doodle Dandy. November 11, 1943, Homer and his crew, along with 31 other bombers, flew a mission to destroy a ball bearing plant in occupied France. On the return trip, a mechanical failure caused the plane to drop out of formation, leaving the Yankee Doodle Dandy vulnerable, and shortly thereafter, 7 German Me-109 shot the plane down near Andano, Italy. 4 crew members were killed on board. The others parachuted. 1 was captured and taken prisoner. Homer was among the remaining 5 who made it to Switzerland and returned to duty. Homer Stacy survived World War II, the Korean War, and retired after 21 years of service with numerous awards and citations, not to mention the Purple Heart. Homer Stacy. Homer Stacy McCullum. Scott McCullum's dad. Scott McCullum is McRoof. McRoof is owned and operated by the McCullum family, an honorable, trustworthy red, white, and blue family. If you want to improve or repair your property, call 855-766-3405. Ask for a no-cost roof assessment and home inspection. That's McRoof, 855-766-3405. That's McRoof.
And Home Repair McRoof Style, back on the air for Act 2 of today's show. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We're live in studio with restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCullum. You can call us with your home repair questions, 405-656-5483. 5868. Our trivia question, still hanging out there. What is the standard wind warranty for a CertainTeed Northgate or Landmark shingle? If you think you know the question, give us a call, 405-656-5868. Hey, Scott, on this date in 1861, here's something that sounds kind of familiar.
Okay.
U.S. President Abraham Lincoln outlawed business with the Confederate States. No business with the bad guys. In 1922, Annie Oakley set the women's record by breaking 100 clay targets in a row. And this one is close to my heart. On this date in 1935 was the first radio broadcast of Fibber McGee and Molly. And I mention that only because Carpenter Square Theater, as you know, has resurrected our live radio shows
Right.
on our YouTube channel,
Right.
actors in costume, live sound effects, and all of that. We've done, I think, 3, maybe 4 Fibber McGee and Molly shows, and we're doing another one. Our next one in
Okay.
May,
All
May
right.
20th and 21st, will be a Fibber McGee and Molly, and it will have the closet opening with all of the mayhem that ensues. And folks, if you're not familiar with Fibber McGee and Molly, it was the radio show that created the sitcom format. That format of, you know, that the couple with the wacky neighbors and all of that never existed before Fibber McGee and Molly, and it was created to sell Johnson's Glow Coat floor wax.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah.
Amazing.
So when we last left our hero, he was about to jump on his.
Wait just
Okay,
a minute.
all right.
Wait just a minute. Listened to the Roof RX spot during the break.
Oh yeah,
Talking about trained, credentialed inspectors.
Right.
Okay, not just a roofing salesman out there looking at a roof.
yeah.
Big shout out to Scotty McCollum this
Okay.
morning. He walked in my office about 7:30, a big old smile on his face. He is now a Hague certified commercial inspector.
Oh, congratulations,
So,
Scotty.
Yeah, that's a big deal. There aren't that many around, and what that means is that, you know, he's putting in the work, he's putting in the effort to really separate himself from a knowledge standpoint,
Right.
from that technical competency standpoint. And he said, you know, he really had a good time taking the course. He learned a lot. You know, a lot of courses we take, there's not a lot of meat to them.
Right,
Okay.
right.
Seems a little elementary to us
Right.
because we've been doing this a long time. Even somebody like Scotty's been doing it quite a while. That course really got him excited about digging deeper into commercial roof systems. So congratulations to Scotty on that. You want me to talk a little bit about my...
Actually, I want you to see if Karen has the answer to the trivia question.
I don't know. Karen calls from time to time, and she usually has the answer. So
Karen, are you there?
Yes, sir.
All right. So the highest wind speed recorded in Oklahoma this past week was 87 miles an hour. The CertainTeed Northgate or Landmark shingle comes with a wind warranty of how many miles per hour?
110.
Yes,
ding,
ma'am.
ding, ding. I told you, I mean...
Yeah.
All right, so let's see if we can stump Karen.
All right, Karen, you've already
Let's-
won the book. Let's see.
Let's see if we can stump Karen.
All right.
Karen. So, because McRoof is a CertainTeed select shingle master company, the warranties on our shingles are increased to how many miles per hour?
Oh,
Oh,
One.
no. Oh,
I would say 120.
That's a good guess, Karen. But
Oh.
give her the buzzer. Give her the buzzer.
Just a little low.
Get the bums out of here.
A little low. You want to increase
You
your
want
bid?
to try one more time, Karen?
150.
Oh, that was too much.
No, now you really,
Okay, well,
Randy,
whatever.
get the bums out of here now.
Oh, Karen, the magic number we were looking for was 130, but you've already won the book, so that was just the bonus. There was nothing extra that came with it.
Thanks for playing, Karen.
So, Karen, I'm going to send you back to Retro Radio Randy, and he will get your mailing address and tell you about the books
Yeah.
that you have a choice of.
You know, we have some customers that are really, really, really good with Google. Okay?
Yeah?
I mean, some customers, some listeners.
Just saying, just
some
saying.
listeners.
Thank you, Karen. I really
Thanks, Karen.
appreciate it.
Okay.
Okay,
All
thank
right,
you.
and there she goes.
Okay.
All right, so before you get on your high horse here, and
I'm not getting on a high horse.
Well, before you get on your tirade, Randy, we need to do the weather. All right, well, McRoof US, McRoof.us meteorologist Dion Markham has the weekend off, but I can tell you that the Southern Plains weather this week will turn warmer and windy, continued windy. Oklahoma City and Alva will have some rain tomorrow morning, Sunday morning. Alva will also has a good chance of rain on Tuesday morning. Other than that, just it's going to turn warmer, and it will continue being windy.
Okay, well, it is springtime in Oklahoma.
It is, it is.
I'm sure whether you're in Kansas or Missouri or Arkansas or Texas, it's probably about the same thing. So.
Yep. All right, so you were about to talk about inconsistent adjusters.
Okay, well, and this is, I started to say, or I mistakenly said that I was going to get on a tirade about adjusters. That's really not what it's about.
Okay.
I mean, we love adjusters. They do a great job. They're out there, you know, it's a difficult job at times, but they're out there trying to make sure that they adequately scope out the damages and the things that exist and do it all within the context of the instructions that they're given by their managers and
Right.
claims VPs of their
Okay.
insurance companies. So the thing that is so frustrating, the thing that is so, you know, just hard to deal with, okay, is the inconsistency. There is no, it's not science, it's art.
Right.
Okay? There's no rules in black and white, okay? There's no consistency from one company to another. And in a lot of cases, there's not even any consistency from one adjuster to another
Within the same
company, okay? And it's just frustrating, okay?
It
It's
sounds like
hard to-
it's not dissimilar to home inspections.
I guess that would be true. Yeah, I guess that would be true. We had a situation this week, same insurance company, two different adjuster appointments, okay? One of them got denied and one of them got bought. The one that got bought, in my mind, was iffy.
Okay.
The one that got denied was an absolute no-brainer,
Wow.
okay?
No brainer in that it should have been bought.
Absolutely, absolutely. Totaled roof, no question, no anything. That one got denied. And the other one that I would have called a 50-50 roof.
Right.
Okay. The only reason the other roof was called in was because the people were going to either pay cash to replace the roof or see what the insurance company would do.
Right.
I would call it a 50-50
Sure.
roof. The insurance company bought it.
Okay.
So the
But
other.
the one that was denied,
Uh-huh.
that was a no-brainer in
Uh-huh.
that it should have been bought. What was the justification, the rationale for
Just
that?
did not agree that there was enough damage there. Considered a lot of the damage to be what we call mechanical damage. Considered some of the damage to be quote-unquote old damage. Okay.
Well, old,
Where
I
we're-
understand, but mechanical damage,
Okay.
I'm not real sure about.
Well, there is a lot of mechanical damage on some roofs.
I don't know what does it come from?
Mechanical damage is damage tools, people walking on the roof,
Oh,
people
okay.
crawling on the roof,
All right.
dragging things on the roof, things
Okay.
like that. And where you'll see it particularly is on a steep roof where there's traffic patterns where people are going up and down valleys.
Right.
Okay. And they'll scuff up and drag up all the shingles around that
Okay.
valley.
All
Okay.
right.
That's mechanical.
Okay.
That's damage from foot traffic, mechanical
Okay.
damage. Most of this occurs during installs. Some of it occurs with plumbers or air conditioning people or satellite dish people like that.
Right, okay.
Crawling on the roof after
Human-
the fact.
human
So- exactly.
problems.
It's not storm-related damage.
Right,
It's something.
okay, now I understand.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's what the mechanical damage is. But it's just, it's so frustrating, and particularly when you're dealing with the same insurance company.
Right.
We just wish it was more black and white than that. I think consumers wish it was more black and
Sure.
white than that. We've talked a lot with the insurance commissioners over the years about the whole concept of wind damage on asphalt shingle roofs, and that you want to talk about, you think there's inconsistencies with hail damage
Right.
and that kind of thing. Wait until you get into wind damage. It is all over the board, as to how different companies deal with that. And
Wow.
it's just,
So
it's-
do you have any recourse? Can you appeal that
we
denial?
can. What happens is, now, it may fall on deaf ears,
Right.
but, and often does. What happens is, we will write the claim as a complete replacement in Xactimate, submit it to the insurance company through the claims portal with all of our photographs and our evidence and a narrative, maybe even a Roof RX report from a certified, qualified, credentialed inspector with some
Right.
signatures and titles and
Right.
things like that.
Yeah.
And maybe we will get what's called a reinspection or
Okay.
a second look, okay?
Yeah.
But there are a lot of the companies that will draw a line in the sand, say, no, our adjuster's been out and we're not going to give you a second look. Then you get into all kinds of things where people can go to the insurance commissioner's office, jump up and down, that kind of thing,
Right.
to try to get some relief.
Okay, all right. So now it's time, boys and girls, for us to get scary. This is the segment of the show that we love to call... Ooh, the horror story this week is called Part 2. Myrtle, one of these days you're going to hire someone who has a clue what they're doing.
Yeah, and you remember the story from last week. We had a commercial roof, and it had that dome roof
Oh, yeah,
on it.
yeah, the
And-
half barrel or barrel
the,
roof.
the barrel roof,
Yeah.
yeah. And Myrtle had decided to build this building right up against that dome.
Right.
And vertically block off half
Right.
of the water drainage on that roof.
Yes.
And what the result of that was that there was a significant amount of damage, rust, deterioration in the metal decks.
Right.
So we've mitigated all of this. We've gone through and taken care of stuff, getting the roof back on and everything else. Well,
But wait, there's more.
it ends up, it's not just Myrtle.
Oh, no.
Okay, it's not just Myrtle. So we move a couple blocks away over onto another of our commercial
no.
roofs, and maybe this is Myrtle's friend or something else. I don't know, but we've got somebody else who needs to hire somebody that knows what they're doing.
Oh, geez.
We're on a commercial roof and we're taking off the old roof. Okay. And literally, someone has gone in and on top of a gravel roof, they've installed not one, but two roofs on top of the gravel roof, okay? And they have done nothing to isolate those two roofs on top of that gravel roof. In other words, there's no insulation board, there's no recover board, there's nothing. There's just two more layers of built-up roofing on top of the gravel roof. So we're cutting and taking roof off, and literally when the guys would cut that top sheet and pick it up in a section about 4 foot long and 5 or 6 foot tall,
Yeah.
water is dripping
Oh, no.
out of, and they haven't isolated, they haven't done anything to ventilate that roof. They haven't done anything to keep the moisture out of the interior of that roof. We had done moisture scans, and we knew there was moisture in the roof. We thought the moisture was going to be in the base sheets and the insulation.
Right.
The moisture that we were seeing in our scans
Yeah.
was the moisture between those first two roofs that were laying on top of the gravel roof. when we got down to the gravel roof and into the insulation layers and down to the concrete, there's no water there. All the water was simply there because of the way the two roofs were installed on top of the gravel. And again, you need to hire somebody that's got a clue about what it is they're
Boy.
supposed to be doing.
No
So,
kidding. And with that, we'll take our second break and final break. We'll be back with Act 3 of Home Repair McRoof Style on the McRoof Radio Network. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. He's restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCullum. Retro Radio Randy is answering your call to 405-656-5868. We'll be back in a flash. This is the McRoof Radio Network.
Rick, I don't
Yes,
know
sir.
if you've made that call yet or not, but I
Not
need the
yet.
phone numbers. Man, I don't know. You're a procrastinator. I need the phone numbers for the Generator Super Center of Oklahoma.
You know, sometimes procrastination is the only thing I find time to do.
Yeah, I get it.
In Oklahoma City, the Generator Supercenter number is 405-341-0341. And in Tulsa, 918-500-7173.
So, Rick, the Generator Super Center, they are a Generac generator dealer. Is that right?
They are.
They are the state's largest Generac generator dealer. I saw on TV the other day, Generac is rolling some little goodies in right now. Now's a good time. I think you're getting that extended warranty is being included
Oh,
in the
my.
packages, things
Yeah.
like that. So great time to call Generac, not just because they're giving you a warranty right now, but also because the wind is going to blow and the hail is going to fall. And it'd be a great time to get that generator in your home, your office, your lake house, wherever it is, so you don't have to deal with the power outages. You know, being without refrigeration or without AC or anything like that, being without heat in the wintertime, those aren't good things.
No, they're not.
And we got a lot of folks who have certain medical situations. They need apparatus and equipment to keep them going. You know, you got to have a generator to make sure everything works the way it's supposed to. Generator Super Center of Oklahoma in Oklahoma City, 405-341-0341. Tell them McRoof sent you.
Honoring America's Warriors is an Oklahoma City-based nonprofit that provides military honors and ceremonies, service dogs for disabled veterans, and multiple activities and events for the veteran and their family. When Honoring America's Warriors was established, our first sponsor and supporter was McRoof. Now, years later, McRoof and the McCullum family continue to provide financial support to Honoring America's Warriors' important programs. To learn more about our mission, go to honoringamericaswarriors.org. Go to honoringamericaswarriors.org today.
Rick, once again, the Roof RX Company is proud to present the Daylight Doctor.
Daylight Doctor.
Daylight Doctors, the prescription for your dark home. Our Solitude daylighting systems bring pure natural light to brighten even the darkest spaces and for a fraction of the cost of a traditional skylight. We can install your Solitude daylighting systems in about 2 hours. Yeah, 2 hours. We can prescribe and cure your dark home in 2 hours.
Wow, that's amazing.
It is. The Daylight Doctor can remedy your dark kitchen, bathrooms, hallways, and you can take advantage of the 26% solar tax credit. Ask us how today. Visit OKCSkylights.com or call 405-977-5483 to schedule your free house call.
Wow.
Get the doctor in your house. Again, visit OKCSkylights.com or call 405-977-5483. Get the prescription and the cure today.
I'm Scotty McCollum, and I am McRoof. The qualities that every McRoof team member possesses are attention to detail, integrity, and a commitment to be an expert in our field. The goal of every McRoof project is to restore a home or business to the fullest extent, and in the process, we try to create a relationship as well as lasting peace of mind. We're not happy if you're not happy.
Replacement done right. McRoof.us. 855-766-3405.
And Home Repair McRoof style. Back on the air for Act 3 of today's show. I'm Rick Allen Lippert. We're live in studio with restoration specialist and Hall of Fame remodeler Scott McCullum. It is last call for your call, so when you call 405-656-5868, say hello to Retro Radio Randy and give us a call with your home repair question. Do you have a project that has you bumfuzzled, maybe
Or
even
flummoxed.
flummoxed? Either way, we'll make up something if we don't know it. Hey, on this date in 1947, this is a lot earlier than I expected this to be, but the zoom lens was first demonstrated in New York City. 1947. In 1956, wow, this is another mind blower. The first solar-powered radio went on sale. And in 1962, this was the night that Walter Cronkite began anchoring the CBS Evening News.
And that's the way it is.
That's right. Oh, man, I used to love watching Walter Cronkite. Even as a teenager, I would watch him
Yep.
every evening. He was the most trusted man in America.
Yes, he was.
Well, we can't say that about anybody on TV these days. Hey, and we have a question coming in from Lisa. Hello, Lisa.
Hello, how are you?
Hey, Lisa, we're great. How are you doing today?
Doing great.
Good.
My
So-
question is, can I ask a question?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, great. My question is, I have a crack in I think it's a crack, I'm not really sure, but it feels lumpy in my daughter's back bedroom, closest to the south side of the house, and it kind of feels like it might be a crack. Do y'all know which company is the best company to use, maybe to have come out and look at the foundation? There's so many. I didn't think there would be, but there's like 10 or 12 different companies who do that, and I didn't know who y'all might think was a good company.
Well, I'll give you a couple of names, and I'm not going
Okay.
to jump up and down and say that one is the best. Okay, so I'm going to give you
Okay.
a couple of names. I'd look at Permanent, I'd look at Crown, and I'd look at Ramjack. And you might want to do a little bit of research, maybe talk to a few of your friends or neighbors, somebody in your neighborhood. And you may not need 3, you may only need 2 people to come out and look at it and just see what the difference is in the way that they evaluate your situation and who you're most comfortable with. Why do you think it's foundation related? Can you see anything on the outside of your house?
No, I don't see anything on the outside. It just feels lumpy there, but we have carpet, so I'm not really sure. I didn't know what I should do before I
Okay, so
called them.
you're talking about it's on the floor.
Right.
Okay, and you're on a slab foundation, you're on a concrete, on the concrete.
Right.
Okay, all right, so
Slab.
what you might want to do before you call anybody is you might want to just pull that carpet back. You take the easiest way to do it is take a pair of pliers and go right up against the baseboard, okay, and just kind of
okay.
pinch that carpet and start lifting it up. Don't yank or pull, just lightly lift it up. That'll pull it loose from what's called the tack strip, which is holding it down.
Okay.
Roll it back a little bit, and then there's going to be a pad underneath that. It's typically a 1/2 inch thick rebond or kind of recycled product pad. Roll that back to where you can see what that crack looks like. If you can look, you can tell a lot of things. Number one, you can tell the width of the crack. Okay, that's going to
Okay.
kind of give you some idea about the extent of the issue that you've got. And then number two, what you're really looking for, and what I think you're describing, is you're looking for a diselevation. In other words, one side of the crack is significantly higher than the other side. Okay.
Okay.
And that
Okay.
is going to be indicative of a foundation issue. Could also be indicative of a slab leak. Is there any plumbing
Oh.
anywhere? Is there any plumbing anywhere near this room that you're talking about?
I think it runs, like outside the front yard, it runs straight out that way, is what one of the water guy came.
But is there a, is
said.
there a bathroom? Is this a bedroom? You said bedroom, so there's a bathroom
Yeah.
close to this bedroom?
Yeah, I guess it's in the hallway.
Okay.
So,
So see, you could have a broken water line underneath your slab that is causing this situation. Okay. So
okay.
so there's a couple different things. I mean, either way, you're going to need to deal with this, and I think
Right.
I think give a couple of the foundation companies a call. You might want to investigate a little bit. You might want to go back and look at 3 or 4 or 5 months of water bills and see if you can notice anything that's really spiked in your water bill, because that would be more indicative of a slab leak that would have to be
Oh, really?
repaired. That would have to be taken care
Okay.
of before the foundation people could do anything, okay?
Okay. Thanks so much. That
You
gives me
bet.
lots of things to work on. I appreciate it.
Okay, thanks, Lisa. Thanks for listening and thanks for calling.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks,
thank
Lee.
you.
All right, bye-bye. Hey, Scott, what do you have there in front of you that look like you want to talk about?
Well, yeah, let me just tell you, this is a letter that came out to all of the roofing contractors back before the 1st of April, and basically announcing a roughly 10 to 15% increase for asphalt, shingle, and residential roofing products
Okay.
effective after April 11th, so it's already in effect.
Right.
So this is another 10 or 15% on top of, I believe it was 8% in February, and then last November, things like that. So, you know, he sent us a list, or a letter rather, talking about the influencing factors and what's going on
Okay.
in building materials.
All
So
right.
yes, I thought it was really interesting. Manufacturing suffered major setback at the beginning of the pandemic, losing over 1.4 million jobs. Since then, the industry has really struggled to fill the vacant positions.
Okay.
So that's number one. Number two, inflation. We all know
about
kind of
that.
we're kind of in that hyperinflation model right now, so we know about the inflation. Trucking companies raising driver compensation by 33%
Oh, my.
to remain competitive in the driver shortage environment.
Yeah.
This is since the pandemic. Transportation and freight costs rising due to oversaturated ports, driver shortage, and fuel prices. 72% of America's freight moves by truck. Countries experiencing a shortage of more than 80,000 drivers.
Yep.
Okay. COVID-19 pandemic led to worldwide shutdowns that slowed down manufacturing and imports. 70% of building materials in the U.S. are imported from China, Canada, and Mexico. Okay? Anyway, very, very interesting. Gave us a price for a 35.66 square roof, average in Oklahoma City, $522.25 a square.
Wow.
That's where we're at right now.
Wow.
Okay? So anyway, lots of
That's
factors.
quite a bit more. I seem to recall, of course, I'm showing my age here, but back when I was in college and helping
Yeah, we don't want to know about that.
helping a buddy of mine whose father was a roofer, I think the average that I recall him saying was $100 a square.
Well, yeah, you were in college a long time ago,
I
Rick.
was. I
had a
was.
guy. I had a guy in my office this morning, though. I had a guy in my office this morning who said that he does some work for a contractor who is installing asphalt shingle roofs for $250 a square today. Okay. Well, at $250 a square, I would be absolutely losing a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, and this is something that the consuming public needs to understand, if it sounds too good to be true, or I used to have a rule about when I would bid things out as a general contractor.
Right.
Typically, the first number that I eliminated was the lowest number.
Okay.
Okay. And then I would go and look at the highest number and the middle numbers and figure out, okay, what are the differences and everything else. But that lowest number,
Yeah.
that's not where I wanted to be.
Right.
Okay. I wanted to make sure that I'm getting quality products, quality installation, and someone who's going to be around to take care of it after the fact.
Exactly.
And you do not get that with the low price
That
guy.
low price,
The
yeah.
chuck in a truck, as we call it.
Exactly.
Okay? So anyway, that's where we're at. But yeah, continuing pressure on prices. We're all going to see that. The big storms haven't really hit, although we had some hail over around Tulsa last night. Had a big hailstorm in Little Rock in
Yeah.
the last week or
Yeah,
so.
they sure
So, it's starting to pop a little bit, and we're going to get some big storms. And then we all know what comes after that is hurricane season. So, we're sitting there right now at very high pricing, and it's only going to get higher the rest of this year.
Speaking of storms, it's time for our Before the Storm tip, brought to you by Roof RX.
So, folks, I really want to emphasize that there are very few roof replacements that should be being done right now. Okay, if you've got a real estate closing, if you're in a situation where you've got water literally pouring in your house or your office or your building or whatever every time that it rains, yeah, you got to get those roofs replaced, because you're sure not going to get through storm season. The hurricane residual rains that we get that set in and have the heavy rains
Yeah.
for 3 or 4 or 5 days, you're not going to get through that without a lot of damage. You've got to have a new roof. But short of that, there's very few really good reasons to be doing a roof replacement right now.
Right.
You need to be doing a qualified inspection that establishes a baseline for you of exactly what the condition of your roof is, the roof, the shingles, the flashings, all of the details and everything. Anything that needs to be sealed up or replaced or repaired right now because it's subject to give you a problem during storm season with the wind-driven rains, get it repaired. Get it taken care of. And then what you do is you go on a preventative maintenance plan, okay, that is going to continually evaluate and keep your roof where it's in a situation where it's going to perform for you, keep the water out like it's supposed
Right.
to. And if and when you get to that place where you actually need a replacement, then you're going to have that information and know that it's time to do that. That's what Roof RX is all about, okay? So inspect, repair, and maintain. Very, very few roofs should be being replaced right now. We need to get you through storm season. We need to reevaluate after storm season, and then and only then make that decision. First time a hailstone falls, don't be running for your phone to call your insurance company. Run for your phone to call for a qualified roof inspection, and that's Roof RX. That's not a roof salesperson, okay? So it's a whole different deal.
All right.
All right?
So what's coming up in this next week?
Well, couple commercial roofs that we'd like to get finished. I don't know if we'll get them finished this week or not.
Yeah.
But that's kind of what we're shooting at. Really got a lot of wind repairs. A lot of calls last week for 3 or 4 wind-blown shingles. I've got one guy's got a section of maybe 100 square feet of shingles, just the whole thing lifted up, which
Oh,
tells
my
me
goodness.
that his roof wasn't properly fastened. So
Right.
we'll kind of see what's going on there. But that's going to be it. We'll be doing a lot of repairs this week, get all those people buttoned up and cleaned up before we get a big storm.
Okay.
Make sure that they're taken care of. So did we get you squared away again?
I believe so. I couldn't stick around and wait, but I think we're in good shape down at Carpenter Square Theater.
Okay. All righty.
So our Dad's Wisdom. We're wrapping up with Dad's Wisdom.
Okay, and this is a recurring theme, and it came up again in my life and my world this week. So say what you mean and do what you say. People don't have to agree with you, but they need to know where you stand.
Wise words from Homer McCollum. Well, this has been episode number 213 of Home Repair McRoof Style on the McRoof Radio Network. I want to thank Retro Radio Randy for pushing the knobs and sliding the sliders and all that good stuff.
You're welcome.
We'll see you next week, and we'll see you also, Scott
Yes,
McCollum.
sir. Have a happy Easter, everybody.
Yes, sir. Happy Easter.